Hello, everyone. Give everyone some time to come into the room. We'll give it 5-10 minutes. Give it about 5-10 minutes for everyone to come into the room. Got anybody's have any comments? You want to get in first? Let me know. Denise is here. Hey, Micah, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. D is here. Happy holidays, MD. Thanks, D. Much love, girl. Or girls, I should say. Yeah, so let's see what we're gonna do today. What we're gonna talk about. What's on everybody's mind. How everybody's holidays went. Hopefully well. New haircut looks nice. Thank you. I'm going to keep it short like this from now on, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, thanks, D. So, girls, how was your holidays? What'd you do with the family? DJ Emo's here. Hey, Micah, I haven't sorted an email out yet. I'm getting Christmas and stuff out the way with 2 daughters, haha. But we'll email you in the new year. I want your books. You do that. I got a lot of people telling me get back to them in January, which is fine. And DJ Emo, if you have do you have my email address, DJ Emo? All the traditional things seemed a little different this year. How do you mean? But yeah, DJ Emo, where are you located too, by the way? I need to know for shipping purposes where you're located. Because I don't stock books here anymore. I used to, but I found that was too annoying to maintain. So what I've done is when somebody wants the books, I order the set directly from, you pay me first, and then I order the set directly from the manufacturer, and then I'll sign the books and everything. Fonzie's here. Hey, Micah, always a pleasure to see you, friend. Thank you. Thank you. Felt like I was going through the motions. I was happy to be with the family. I was happy to be with my family, too. The only one in my immediate family that I talk to is my mother. I don't really have a relationship with my dad. We text every 2 weeks, just hey. And I don't talk to my sister at all. My sister stopped talking to me because I wouldn't support Ukraine. Believe it or not. Yeah. So I'm wondering if any of you guys have any family members that are just completely spellbound by the news. I thought I would have some free funds spare, but recently sorted buying a house and some extra needed squared away. I'm in Northern Ireland. Okay, I could definitely ship to Northern Ireland. I'm under the impression that Northern Ireland does not have Amazon. Amazon doesn't have my books there, so I would have to ship from here. But DJ Emo, if you wanted to go a cheaper route, I also have digital and audiobooks, which I can email you in a flash. All I got to do is just transfer the money, and then I can email it to you in a flash. Some people like physical books, and I get that. There's more to it when I have to order the physical books. But for sure, Def hit you up New Year. Hope you had a good Christmas. I did. Happy, healthy. Thanks, D. I had some arrogant elder relations who assumed me and my mom was crazy for not getting the jibby. Oh. My birthday is the 5th of January. I'm decappy season. My friend Steve's birthday is January 5th, too. He has the world record for most weighted pull-up. So he was a Marine, and he does pull-ups with like 300 pounds attached of weights attached to a belt, and he does pull-ups. He owns the world record, and his birthday is January 5th. Hello. Say hi, Lola. Say hi, Lola. I know you don't know how to work a camera yet. You're still a little young. You want me to let you out? No, you're just going to sit there? Okay. D says Semper Fi. I'm not a Marine, but yes. So people are still coming into the room, so I'm still going to give it a few more minutes. But if anybody has any comments or anything they want to get started with or any questions, I will try my best, as I always do every time I'm here, to answer them. And if I don't know, I don't know. But so what's going on, everyone? Anybody? Somebody's got to have questions. Mainly building Lego last few days. How old are your kids, DJ Emo? How old are your kids? Here we go, D. Thank you. What is the best way to begin reading the Bible? What is the best way to begin reading the Bible? Everyone's going to have a different exposure. Everyone is going to have a different exposure to it. But that's a really good question. I don't really have an answer for that. The best way to begin reading the Bible, I would just start at the beginning. Don't read anybody's commentary on it. Hold on, I gotta let the dog out. Well, actually, now that I think about it, Jordan Maxwell used to say, get the companion Bible, is what it's called. In the companion Bible, there's footnotes and there's all sorts of explanations for it's almost like somebody is explaining it to you along the way. Start with the companion Bible. I think everyone is burnt out this year. I need help. Buy my book series. That's right. If you guys want to learn more, you guys want to learn a lot, I have 8 books out so far, which is a complete lesson in astrotheology, but in so many more things too. Dankster. I've been called that many times. The Old Testament is hard. The Old Testament is hard. There's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of what's it called? Contradictions. Um, treat it in pieces. Okay, so like read one book and then put it away. Do not attempt to read the whole thing at once. And if you have any questions, you can always come here. Hold on, guys. I'm looking for something. Just give me 1 sec, guys. Sorry. Okay, sorry. All right, so here we go. Fongzi says, the Bible is not literal. It's mystical and should be approached spiritually. Jesus' parables were stories with lessons, not literal events. The Bible teaching through stories, symbols, and meaning. But it's even deeper than that, Fongzi. There are 12 holy sciences that are encoded into the Bible. I only really teach one. And I don't even teach a complete one. I teach like an intro to one. Or just like a very easy way to understand it. I've been told by people that my astrotheology, although it's not the best out there, is the easiest to understand, and I'm okay with that. Old Testament, Enoch, Jubilees to start with. Why would you start with those particular ones? Parker says, do you follow the traditional Christmas celebration, buying gifts? Of course I do, because my stepdaughter is 9 years old, and I can't come at her with what I've found and what I do. Her mom's a mystic too. I can't come to her and she's not going to appreciate it. The people that really appreciate my work are the people who have been exposed to the literal teachings and are lost and confused or reject it. And then they come to me and they're like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. And those are the people who are like, whoa. But if you're not exposed to it, you're going to be like, astrology, cool. So you really need to be exposed to how the world exposes you to religion to then be able to unprogram yourself. What Bible did Jordan Maxwell use? I can't remember. It was called the Companion Bible. Ethiopian Bible first. We're looking at 88 books versus the 66 books they have in the Bible. The Ethiopian Bible will lead to the Nag Hammadi, which will lead to Gnosticism, if you read the whole thing. Okay, so Brass Caboose, nice name. In your presentation shared on Santos's page, I think you say you're mostly explaining the astrotheology, but there's more ways to read the Bible. Could you share some info on the numbers or numerology? I'm not a numerologist. The Pleiades are a set of 7 stars. There's 12 zodiac signs, 12 tribes, 12 brothers of Joseph, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 disciples. There are some numerologists that are out there that are really good. But I, unfortunately, have spent my entire adult life studying the astrotheology and breaking down and just reading. Like, you don't know, you couldn't imagine how much I read. My website has 70 or so astrotheological breakdowns of these ancient holy texts, including the Nag Hammadi, including the Colburn Bible, including the Ethiopian Bible. But I'm glad you're here from Santos. Yeah, Santos is great. By the way, Brass, just so that you know, I'd gotten my YouTube channel back because I had been banned for about 11 months. And when I got it back, I reached out to Santos and I helped him get his back. I sent him a picture. It was a screenshot of something to upload to the Google Masters to show them. And it was just an article from a newspaper that said the Joe Biden administration was censoring people, and we're committed to uncensoring them. So Santos directly got his channel back from me, and we're going to be collaborating soon. We've been talking back and forth, and just a really great dude. I mean, he taught me the foundation of everything I know, and I can't say enough great things about him. Rob is here. Sending love from Michigan. How cold is it right there right now? What do you mean by holy? Isn't holy a psyop? Holographic? If you think of holy in the terms of a literalist, then yes. Instead of holy, you can use the word sacred. These are sacred sciences. Astrotheology is the first science. DJ Emo says, I've always felt it's a guide in stories to teach your internal clock of what not to become and what to maybe try to be as best as you can through all the stories and examples. Guys, there's a reason 4,000 years later we're still talking about this book. Because everyone thinks they know what they're talking about with it. Bill Donahue, said Leonardo da Vinci was an astrologer. Yeah. And why can't I remember his name? Da Vinci was an astrologer. Most of them were astrologers back then. The 12, the Last Supper are the 12 zodiac signs. And Santos does a breakdown of that. I do too, but I don't have the whole thing. He definitely does. I'm going to look this up because it's bothering me that I can't remember his name. Hold on. Isaac Newton, that was it. Why couldn't I remember his name? Isaac Newton said that he was an alchemist first. These sciences blend into each other. What my work does, what I like to say my work does, is it doesn't give you all the answers. It'll give you some. But what I like about it is that it makes other people searching for answers engage with each other. I can't tell you how many people are friends with each other through my page, through just talking through comments, and then they become friends, and it's great building a community like this. And what I like to say that I do is I'm an introduction to mysticism, or maybe not mysticism, but an introduction to spirituality. Okay, so what else we got? I study numerology. If you wish to share your birthday, I can help you make a start on learning about yourself. At Brass. See? People talking to each other through here. Yes, it was great seeing Santos come back. Much thanks to him and you for sharing knowledge. I was worried when Syncretism Society page went down. I was teaching there. I don't know if you saw me there, but Santos asked me to teach there, and I taught there for a few months. Um, what I basically did was I sent him all the videos that are on my webpage right now. I didn't make any new lessons or anything, but yeah, I was teaching there. Not bad. 39 today, thinking about doing a cold plunge. I know that Wim Hof is going on tour to share his breathing techniques and his method. That would be something really interesting to go see. Gnosticism and astrotheology seem to hit on similar themes. Can you explain the main difference? The basis of Gnosticism, or the Gnostics, is that you'll read the Bible and you'll read the Old Testament, and you'll come to realize that Yahweh is a Phoenician Canaanite deity, as Jordan Maxwell has explained, and as you could look up. So is Baal, so was Moloch. Yahweh was one of them. The Jews are henotheistic. They're not monotheistic. Monotheism was started by Akhenaten in 1367 BC. We told everyone to worship the sun openly. Henotheism means pick one God out of many. That's why there's commandments that says you'll have no other God than me. Well, what do you mean, like make them up? No, there were other gods. You picked one God. It's a lesser God, and he's evil. He kills everybody. In the Old Testament, he's always testing people. He's jealous. They talk about it in the Bible too when they say you're going to make animal sacrifices, right? What are the animals that they sacrifice? It's always a lamb or a ram, a goat, and a bull. Well, that's Aries, Taurus, and Capricorn. That's just 3 of them right there. When you sacrifice them, the smell of the smoke reaches the ceiling or goes up, and the Lord smells it, and he is pleased. He loves that smell of burning flesh. So the Gnostics went, all right, this is a demiurge. This is a lesser god. This is a lesser God who is evil. This is not the all-encompassing God that we would like to believe. Now, the religious people will tell you that God is, or the God of the Bible is the most holy, the most renowned. He's full of love. But if you read the Old Testament, you'll realize he's not. So the Gnosticisms, these are other gospels also that have left that are not in. Somebody mentioned the Ethiopian Bible. There's 22 extra books in the Ethiopian Bible, including the Book of Enoch, which talk about the Watchers, which talk about this kind of stuff. That's basically Gnosticism in a pinch. Yaldabaoth, the demiurge, a lesser god, an evil god. And as you read the Bible, now you read the Gnostic texts like the Book of Mary Magdalene, the Book of Judas, Book of Esdras. I break them all down too. But these are more, I don't want to use the word Gnostic because you don't want to define a word with a word, but these are more spirituality encoding, like in the Book of Thomas, right? In saying 77, he says, split a piece of wood and I'm there. Lift up a stone and you will find me. Lo and behold, the kingdom of heaven is inside you. A religious clergyman, the last thing they will ever do is to tell you to look inside. The first thing they tell you to do when you come there and you're like, I need help, well, there's a God and you must worship him and he's out there. The last thing they'll tell you to do is look within, because that's where God resides. We're all a part of God. And when you realize that we're all a part of the infinite, nothing exists outside the infinite. I mean, you ask the Christians, right? Is God infinite? Yes. Okay, what does that mean? The fuck does that mean? Can something exist outside the infinite? No. Okay, so then are we not part of God? Well, you're misinterpreting that. We're made in the image of God. No. If God is infinite, and God is everything. And it goes so much deeper than that, to be honest with you. But astrotheology versus Gnosticism. Astrotheology is a step above Gnosticism Because in Gnosticism, you're still taking the texts literally. Whether you choose to interpret it differently, that's one thing. But the religious people will believe it literally. The Gnostics will go, this is a demiurge. It's so obvious that this is a terrible, terrible God. Why are you worshiping this God? The idea of sacrificing your son to save humanity is demonic in nature. You cannot save yourself. It's just like the Jews with the chickens. You cannot transfer sins to something else, kill it, and then be okay with God. That is not how this works. And most people don't realize that. So the main difference is they're different. Gnosticism and astrotheology, they're not really comparable, but you got the religious people, right, who believe the books literally. And then you got the Gnostics who read the text a little bit smarter, and they're like, this isn't a real God, or this is not God. This is a lesser God. This is a lower realm that we're in. And then you've got astrotheology that's like, oh, these are codes within that help you teach the heavens. Very different stuff. Jamie says, your work makes people ask questions. Exactly. I'm basically just a gateway drug to spirituality. That's all it really is. It's just, if I can make you think differently than you've been thinking, then you go on your journey and you can deal with the dark night of the soul and you can go through all this stuff and you can, come to your own conclusions. That's fine. But I'm just showing you what I've found. Rob says, Santos is an awesome guy, a legend in my opinion. We're going to visit him this summer. That is cool. Yeah. Hopefully I get to, we're going to collab before then. He's just, he's like Jordan though. They're great men that have put a lot to study out there, and they've been vilified for it. I've never received a death threat. I've never received a death threat, not once. The worst that it gets is that I'll put an ad on Facebook, right? And religious people will be like, there's no codes, you're a fucking idiot, or something like that, right? That's as extensive as it gets. Never got an email death threat, never got a death threat. But I know Santos and Jordan did. I seen a thing on Woman Hoff where people were dropping dead doing his breathing method. Seriously, Jamie? That you have to DM me. Send me that link. I have to see that. Well, I mean, you are... There is something to say about that, because you're talking about Wim Hof, who can meditate in a mountain full of snow. When you're dropping your body temperature, if you slowly drop your body temperature, you will not come back from that. Hypothermia, I believe, starts at 95 degrees. Your body's 98.6. Hypothermia is 95. Anything lower than that, like when you get into your 70s, when you freeze it, if you're slowly declining, you're not going to come back from them. But if you are just here, if I'm just here talking to you guys, and I just get dunked into a frozen vat, and my body temperature goes down like that, people come back from that. A lot of it has to do with the fact that when your body is cooling down, ice forms in your blood. And these are like little ice daggers. You ever see, I almost said stalactites, but they're not called stalactites. They're icicles, right? Icicles. That's what basically happens to your blood, and then it starts it starts freezing and puncturing other cells and organs and things of that nature. If you were to just be dropped directly into it, that's different. But I would love to see that about Wim Hof. Christos equals oil equals spinal fluid. No, it's not the spinal fluid. It is the oil that goes from your 33rd bone, or from your your base, your coccyx, your tailbone. You guys know the tailbone is real, right? That when you're in when you're developing inside your mother, you grow a tail and then you lose it. Now, some people keep the bone and they have a bone that can wiggle it. You've seen that before, I'm sure. It goes from that bone all the way up here. It travels up your spinal fluid or your spinal column, known as Jacob's ladder. Now, here's the thing, guys. When you're young and you want to go to like parties or raves or anything, like Burning Man, for example. Although Burning Man used to, believe it or not, used to have like intelligent stuff there. Now it's just a fucking orgy. It's garbage. But when you go to these parties and rave and they tell you, oh yeah, take ecstasy, it's the best feeling in the world. Ecstasy is the one drug I tell you not to take. I would tell you to take crack cocaine to the face before you take ecstasy, and I'm going to explain to you why. What ecstasy does is it drains your spinal fluid, and you do not get your spinal fluid back. If you've ever had a spinal tap done before, they make you grab your ass, and they usually go, I think it's C4, it's your C4 vertebrae. They put the needle in and then they drain the spinal fluid. Then they tell you not to move for 24 hours. Why? Because you're going to get a sick headache. Sick headache. You're not going to feel well. You're going to get dizzy. So they're very careful with that. But this drains out your spinal fluid and it stays in there. There are people who take ecstasy who have it's like a relapse, but what you're basically doing is you're having a mirror encounter of your previous ecstasy experience because that shit is still in your spine. So sometimes it comes out and sometimes you experience the same symptoms. It's like imagine taking a gummy, like an edible, right? And then like 2 days later, you're high again because it just comes back. Well, that's what ecstasy does. Ecstasy is the worst drug out there. So it's not spinal fluid, but Christos in Greek means oil. And the New Testament was written in Greek by Jews. Remember, the New Testament. I'm not talking about the early Christians that believed in the New Testament. I'm talking about the New Testament itself was written by Jews. There were no Christians before the story of Jesus. I mean, they were called Helionostics. That's the original name for Christians. Helionostics. Helios is the sun. Gnosis is knowers. The sun knowers. The sun worshippers. That's their original name. You know, they talk about it too. Constantine, right? We could talk about Constantine all day. We could talk about what he did at the time, whether he was baptized on his deathbed, whether he united everybody while he was alive. We could talk about all this stuff. It doesn't even matter. When you're talking about Constantine, he had a nephew named Julian the Apostate, and look up what apostate means, guys. Julian the Apostate, who tried to bring everyone back to sun worship after Constantine died. It was his nephew, and he ended up getting an arrow in his back. We call it friendly fire. It's what happened to Pat Tillman, the NFL player. It's when someone on your own side shoots you. It's called friendly fire. It's Orwellian word, sure, but that's what basically happened. Someone on his own side shot him because they were trying to push this new literal Christianity, but everybody used to believe in that. But yeah, Christos means oil. That's why he's Jesus Christ. Christ is the oil. They worship a bloody, beaten, dead guy on a stick. And they think it's the greatest gift of salvation. You cannot transfer your sins to anything. The Jews do this, the Hasidics do this with chickens. They think that they can read these prayers, wave a fucking chicken around, kill the chicken, and now they're clean. Doesn't work like that. Micah, are you vegan? Santos is so strict on not eating flesh and blood. I'm not there yet, to be honest with you. I don't know if I'm going to get there. I get where he's coming from. But let me explain it to you like this, okay? They don't want you eating meat. Well, fish eat other fish, so why can't we eat fish? Animals eat other animals, so why can't we eat animals? They're saying it's not spiritually clean, right? Well, think about it like this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the work of Dr. Cleve Baxter, but he did some work that blew everyone away, and then science didn't know what to do with it, so they just buried and destroyed his research. What he did was he hooked plants up to lie detector tests, and he found that they could actually answer, that they are conscious, that fruits and vegetables actually are part of life. Remember, everything out there is, if you're talking string theory, everything vibrates, nothing rests. Everything is technically alive. A rock vibrates, even though it doesn't move, it doesn't do anything. Crystals are neither solid nor liquid. They just vibrate at such a high frequency, it gives the appearance of a solid. Everything has a scent of life to it. So when you're eating something, you are taking life. You just have to be sure that what you put into your body is good. And however you determine that is however you determine that. I don't eat fast food. I haven't eaten fast food in 15 years, 20 years. I don't eat fast food. And so everything has life. Trees and leaves and when a tree drops an acorn and that acorn grows into another tree, the mother tree favors that over other plants, like it's its child. It'll provide it more shade, or it'll pull the shade away so it can get more sun. It'll send nutrients to it in the ground. Everything is life. So just to isolate animals just because we see them moving and dancing and shitting and farting and everything, and we're like, oh, they're sentient. Plants are sentient. Fruits and vegetables are sentient. Everything is energy, guys. Isaac is here. Yeah, I seen that too. You have to be very careful when you cold plug. Exactly. Are you and Santos on the same page with Flat Earth? You explaining the waters above and below is cool to hear. Yeah. The jury's out for me on that, to be honest with you. Here's what I think. I think the way it is right now is that consciousness, there's only one consciousness. It is one universal, global, throughout the world, whatever you want to call it, consciousness. There's only one. I am you over here. And space and time doesn't even exist, to be honest with you. This is an illusion. All of this is an illusion. Depending on your vantage point, it could be round or it could be flat. And the reason Flat Earth is such a sensitive topic, and the reason that academics make so much fun of it. We know NASA's garbage, right? Okay, so let's get that aside. NASA is garbage. When you're talking about Flat Earth, you're talking about a flat plane with a firmament, a dome over it. In fact, that is what Werner von Braun, the early Nazi that was brought over here to help build NASA, has Psalm 19.1 on his tombstone. That's the one that talks about the firmament. If this is a flat dome, flat plane with a dome over it, that proves a creator, because that doesn't just happen randomly. Now, whether the dome exists because we're isolated because we're using nuclear weapons, or we're just fucking crazy down here and we're not part of the Galactic Federation, we can go into all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to right now. It's not as simple as a flat Earth. But I will tell you this, is that there are definitely lands beyond the Antarctic ice wall. There are. And just question everything, guys. Just question everything. I'm not on the exact page of Flat Earth because I think Santos believes it flat, as in that with that. But I do think that we're all accessing consciousness, right? We're all one. The only difference is that we have a vessel that's individualized for us, and we have our five senses that we perceive the world through. A lot of people see the world differently. Some people are colorblind. I'm half deaf. Some people perceive the world differently. But we are all accessing the same thing, and it's no different than that. Guys, we're only seeing 1% and hearing 1% of the visual and audio spectrum out there. I mean, there's tachyons that are coming in and out of our body throughout this. Like, when you start doing hallucinogens, you start opening up your mind to this, and you start seeing more of the reality of what it is. But I think me and Santos would agree on more than we disagree, to be honest with you, with Flat Earth. I just don't think it's that simple. Probably the folks he took altitude breathing, walked up the mountains in shorts is just lunacy. Yeah, your balls would freeze and shatter and fall off. Burning Man used to be eccentric, broke artists who found a place to go to express themselves, then brought some DJs, and the DJs and their agencies turned it into a festival. It's like America's Ibiza. Ibiza is way, way, way cooler than Burning Man. I mean, the problem with Burning Man is that a lot of the times, if it rains, it gets muddy. People get stuck there. Like their cars, you're in the mud. You can't move. Ibiza is different. The weather's gorgeous. I've never been, and I probably won't because it's not in my wheelhouse anymore to do that kind of partying. But no, Ibiza is way better than Burning Man. MDMA, very similar. MDMA, that's another one. Wow, I've only done ecstasy once, and it was about 20 years ago. Thanks for the info. I'm not saying you can't still rise the chrism, but is it a lot easier to paddle to take a canoe out into a lake full of water or cerebrospinal fluid than it is to paddle in 2 inches of water? Catherine is here. Hello. Look into LP8 and start there. You will understand fully the matrix codes. What is LP8? I've done ecstasy from about 95 to 2015. MDA is fun stuff. Yeah, but when you try to raise the... Well, a lot of people don't try and raise the chrism, so do what you want. I'm not trying to tell anyone what to do or not to do. I'm just telling you is that it's a lot easier to function with what God gave you in birth than to mess with it. Slave to the rave since 91. We took it and danced all night. Today they come home from the gig and take it at home hoping for sex. They also tell you not to do ecstasy when you're having sex. I've never done it. Ecstasy, not the sex part. They tell you not to do it because it's going to warp your view. Hence all the debauchery and dying club scene for all the festival crap. There we go. What about sex magic, tantra, semen retention? What do you know? Sex magic is just basically like putting an intention to your orgasm. Not really familiar with the other two, to be honest with you. The idea of a sin is funny. I don't know what you mean by that. And then they wear the bloody stick around their neck. Exactly. Fish, beef, chicken, no pork. That would be the way to go. Is there any Astro Theo take on the Guff? I was remembering an older movie, The Seventh Sign, about this. I'm not really sure what that is. Can you elaborate on that? One argument about eating meat is we are not designed to eat meat. How? I need to know. Canine teeth are for me. Yeah, well, we have fangs. We have incisors. Live says, after studying hidden knowledge, you can never go back to organized religion. Exactly. Exactly. So then the thing becomes at that point, who do I talk to about this, right? That's the biggest problem for most people. I've discovered this new thing. It really makes sense to me, but I'm going to be called crazy if I share it with people. You got to make your own. What's going to happen when you start to wake up from this kind of stuff and you start to study this hidden knowledge is you're going to lose a lot of people in your inner circle, your friends, your family. You're going to lose a lot of them because they're not ready to wake up. They're not there yet. But what you're going to find is that if you put yourself out there, you will absolutely find your tribe. Life is in the blood. The blood obsession. These are blood cults, guys. The Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, they're blood cults. Echoes of Kuro say, hey, Micah, I'm probably super late on this, but your thoughts on Christ consciousness or Bill Donahue's work. He was teaching a lot of what you teach back in the 80s and the 90s. Yes, he was. I think I have a different way of approaching this astrotheology than Bill or Santos or Jordan does. I think it's just a simple codex, and people can see patterns. Christ consciousness is real. Understand this, guys. The Jesus of the Bible didn't exist. That is not real. The Christ consciousness entity, the everlasting love that comes to visit people, that is real. The Jesus of the Bible is not real. How do you know? Well, we know that the face of Jesus is Caesar Borgia, the son of Pope Alexander VI. We know this because the printing press came out and he made his son the face of Jesus. We know that Caesar Borgia killed his brother and slept with his sister. We also know his face is the face of Jesus. So when a religious person says, I saw Jesus, I believe it, it's always the same face. That's not the face of Christ. That's not the ever-loving warmth of Christ consciousness. Trees can hear everything we say. They have the ability to communicate with us. They do. Same with water. This has to be when we were just talking about consciousness and memory, right? Look at the work of Dr. Emoto, who set intentions towards water, and it crystallized into fractal snowflake patterns if it was positive. If it was negative, it was discordant. Bill Donahue is in his 90s, still kicking but well retired. I think he's in a nursing home now. He's still kicking? That's good to know. Mike, have you seen the latest stuff about the land being bodies of dragons petrified, and it's their body is the land, or this whole place would be flooded, the lava connected to them, etc. Fun stuff. I have no clue what you're talking about. I do tell you that I believe that dinosaurs were dragons. I believe that dragons were real and dinosaurs were fake, to be honest with you. So what else do we got? Honeybee's here. Namaste. Hey, girl. 99% of everything happening we cannot see with our eyes. That is correct. Sophia's here. Evening, Micah. Great to catch you live, albeit very late to the show. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Science has now just found our bodies have an aura. Articles flying this week on MSN. We've known this forever. We've known that they could be measured. We've known about the human fascia. We've known science is just late to the party, man. It's like with string theory, right? Physicists think string theory is like the greatest thing in the world. The Quantum Hermetica talks about string theory 6,000 years ago. The third Hermetic principle is nothing rests, everything vibrates. That's string theory 6,000 years later. We're rediscovering the same thing. Justin's here. Truth brother, I love you. Okay. Honeybee, Micah, good to see you, friend. Good to see you too. It's clear being with 2026, the age of consciousness and knowledge is here. I've expanded my mind and see life so much more different. Universal consciousness gnosis has helped me tremendously. Good. Not everyone's going to get there, though. Catherine's here. Hey, hey, hey. Miss Honeybee says I prefer mescaline. Never done that either. I think Steve Falconer is more nuanced on Flat Earth. Okay. You cannot get life from a corpse. This is important. When you spend time in ceremony with Bufo, 5MEO, you go back to source energy and understand that we're truly all one. Yeah, it's an ego obliterator. Bufo, 5MEO, for those of you who don't know what it is, I haven't done it yet, but what it is it's toad. So, you know, people lick toads and they get high. That's what it is. You just you take it off. You take this liquid, you put it on a window, and then you scrape it with a razor, and it solidifies. And then you smoke it. You're gone. Are we genetically modified organisms? What do we know? We are genetically modified organism. When you're not in this room, go online and do a deep dive into something called the chromosome 2 anomaly. Because chromosome 2 is 35% larger than the rest. And it's horseshoe shaped, so it looks like this and then like this. It is clearly fused in the middle. It was genetically modified. The Anunnaki story was real. The reason we went to Iraq in 2003 was not for Saddam or weapons of mass destruction. That was just a side thing. If we can get some oil out of it, why not? That was just the side piece. Because they had nothing to do with 9/11. I'm not going to talk about 9/11, guys. There's too much. But the reason we went to Iraq is because they found Gilgamesh's tomb and Nephilim bones. And the first thing they did when they got to Iraq was they built a military site over it to disappear it. They found a Stargate portal too. The Anunnaki story is real. You wonder where these people get these fascinating stories from. But we're definitely genetically modified. Think about this. In the Bible, you have Adam and Eve, right? And then you have two sons, Cain and Abel. Explain how we get a population from just that. Or, what's more likely, there was an existing hominid here with a bunch of different, ton of them, and they were genetically modified. Junvelo Melchizedek talks about this in his Flower of Life book. Everybody talks about this. We are 100% genetically modified. Yes, you do have a different way of teaching. Thank you, Sophia. Have you read any Manly P. Hall and Helena Blavatsky's books, like The Secret Doctrine and The Secret Eight? I have them both. I just haven't read them yet. But yes, I do have them. We are designed to eat meat. If we weren't able to, we did eat. Our bodies would reject it by getting ill. Some people it does. You know, Asians, Chinese, Japanese, they do not have the gene in their DNA to process dairy. Not lactose, but dairy. There were no cows there, so they never developed this need for it. Most Asians will get the shits from drinking milk or eating pizza. I love these streams. You'll dish out little nuggets of things like some I know and some I want to go look into after. Love y'all. And that's what the purpose is all about, guys. That's what it's all about. What is your take on patriarchy and matriarchy? Okay. The original... Okay. How am I going to start this? Man comes from woman. It is not the other way around. Women... You guys know Wonder Woman, right? That land of all women? That's how it used to be. It really did. It really, truly was. Women used to self-replicate. Women did. Now, if you go on Google, you'll find that our modern-day brilliant scientists have found that they can turn cells from bone marrow from women into sperm cells. Women used to self-impregnate, and because a woman self-impregnated, there was no male DNA, so there were no men. The man was added. How do you know this? Because the Y chromosome is disappearing. If you look at the DNA, the Y chromosome barely has enough genes to, and it's been going down over time. It's been coming less and less and less. Males were added. And when you're talking about the matriarchy, this is so far beyond voting for Kamala and Hillary. That's just low-level shit. We're talking about the divine feminine that the Egyptians knew about, that the Jews ruined, because the Jews put the story of Adam and Eve and the apple, even though they never said it was an apple, it could have been a fig from Buddha or whatever, the apple, so to speak, and women doomed for all eternity. And what was the punishment? They were kicked out of Eden, and women were forced to give birth, and men were forced to toil the land. That was what it was. But it originally was just women, and the divine feminine ruled. And you talk to anybody that knows anything these days, that's where we need to get back to. Because as long as we have a patriarchal society, we're never going to get back to what we had. So, The patriarchy society is real, but it comes from the Bible. The Egyptians knew it well. Men venerated women. Women are portals. They bring life from nothing into this realm. And then as soon as they birth the child, they feed the child with their own body. Women are incredible. And this goes so far beyond just getting one of these women politicians to run things, because that's not the true thing. You're talking the divine feminine that appreciates the divine masculine. They complement each other. But no, we have this fucking biblical hierarchy that everybody falls into. So I hope that answers. Have you seen the Nas Confendum site? No, I have not. I appreciate your insight, Micah. Peace and love, bro. Thank you, thank you. Radiant Rising, Micah. Thank you. This is the other thing, too. Listen to this. Our teeth are cutters in the front and mashers in the rear. Same as all herbivores. We have large intestines. There's more protein in vegetation than they lead us to believe. The largest, most powerful mammals in the world are herbivores, including silverback gorillas. So that's Rob saying that. Well, Rob, I don't think you understand this part, and I don't know why I didn't mention it earlier, but you know how we have an appendix, right? And you know how it's fucking useless, and sometimes it ruptures, and people get fevers, and then they throw up, and they're like, oh, your appendix burst, because it's so common now that we know this. The appendix, they don't know what it does. The appendix, what it was used for thousands and thousands of years ago that we've evolved out of, is that when you bit an animal and you ate hair and bones from the animal, this is well before they cleaned it, and this is well before they learned how to cook or smoke it or whatever. Your appendix used to process hair and bones. That's what it was used for. And it no longer does that because we no longer have need for that. So we were built to eat animals. About mud fossils, there's a channel that goes into depth. His channel is Mud Fossil University. Okay. Yes, our music is 440 hertz, yet we love our 432 hertz. Yeah, that was the Rockefeller Institute. Now, guys, anybody that tries to record in 432, and I'm talking like Cobain, Morrison, Hendrix, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain. These are all people that tried to record in 432. Look what happened to them. No, they turned it out. 440 is discordant. 432 is the harmonics. Western tropical or Vedic sidereal. What are the differences and what to follow? What you see behind me right there, that's tropical. That's 12 pieces in an equidistant pie, 30 degrees each. Okay? That is what most of the Bible is encoded with. That is what most astrologers use. Now, Vedic sidereal, that's when you add Ophiuchus into it. And Vedic sidereal is Eastern astrology. And what Vedic sidereal, and Ophiuchus sits between Scorpio and Sagittarius, right? And Scorpio and Sagittarius, well, Sagittarius is the man on the horse, right? Ophiuchus is a man holding a serpent, and the serpent's head is facing this way. It's the serpent bearer. So when you're talking about Dan will be like a serpent, and he will bite the heel of the horse, and the rider will fall off. That's scripture. They're talking about Ophiuchus facing Sagittarius, and then the snake latching on to the next sign over, and the rider falling off. And it's the size of the constellations. See, the size of the constellations there are not accurate. They're not correct. Virgo's about a month and a half long. Scorpio's 6 days. Ophiuchus isn't that big either. Um, these are two completely different ways of doing astrology. But Parker, the way I explain it to people is this: is you got to do which one you feel more comfortable with. Okay, it's not like one is right, the other one is wrong. That's not it at all. If me and you, Parker, are at a party and we're like, all right, let's go get something to eat, and we go to like a Waffle House or something. And you get in your car, and I get in my car, and we punch in the GPS. We left the same place. The GPSs for both of us might take us in completely different directions, but at the very end, we end up at the same exact place, and that is what Vedic and tropical are. Now, Western tropical, Santos uses tropical, my astrology uses tropical, most of my decodings are tropical, but there are some that have Vedic in there. So you basically, whichever you're more comfortable with. My wife's here. I'm just here to look at those beautiful hazel eyes. I thought my eyes were green. But thank you, sweetie. Yes, I'm glad you're here. I really am happy that you're here. I hope you've been listening. I hope this has been eye-opening. I love seeing her name in the chat. I just love it so much. It makes me so happy. But I don't know why this is being so difficult. Hold on. Jamie Forbes, look into how something 20 miles away can be seen on a clear day if the Earth is 250,000 miles all the way around. You are spot on, brother. I'm not sure what that refers to, but thank you. Biscuit's here. Hi from UK. It's good to see you. Homo capensis. That's like the top of the chain. Like, you got people that are like, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans, it's the Jesuits, it's the Vatican, it's the Jews. Like, all the way at the top is Homo capensis. My girlfriend is Korean, and that's 100% accurate about the dairy. Exactly, Jamie. They don't have the gene in their body to process, because there were no fucking cows there. There were no cows there to make the milk. There were no cows for thousands and thousands of years that they evolved. Tell us about vanilla flavoring. Biscuit, it's not just vanilla flavoring, it's also raspberry flavoring. There is an animal called the North American beaver. And the North American beaver, if you were to capture one and lift its tail up, put your nose right up to it, and smell its ass, it would smell sweet. Because they have an organ that sits between their balls and their penis, their taint area, right in there, called the castor sac. And what the castor sac is they take these animals, they kill them, they take out the castor sac, and you know what it looks like? It looks like it's basically like it looks like a dumbbell, but deflated. So it's got the bar, and then it's got the two things on it, and it's like deflated. They hang it, they dry it, and then that is what is used to make raspberry flavoring and vanilla flavoring. Now, notice when you go to a store and you look at the, just pick up a Jello or something. it'll say natural flavoring because, oh, it is natural. It is natural. It comes from nature. Natural flavoring, made with natural flavors. Whenever you see that, you could be eating some of the castor sac of the North American beaver. Not really sure why you wanted me to talk about it, Biscuit, but thank you for grossing everyone out. Traditional Chinese medicine talks about the 5 elements. That's interesting too, because we only have 4 elements now, don't we? They got rid of the ether, didn't they? You know when they got rid of the ether? They got rid of the ether right after. You know when they got rid of the ether? Right after Tesla died. You know who confiscated his work? Donald Trump's uncle. The whole thing is it's a show. It's a big show. And how we're in the womb for 9 months, so we're lacking certain elements. Yeah, well, they tell you about this too. You talk about the book about the cell salts, right? The cell salts, um, the cell salts in the body, in the zodiac, right? We have a sun sign, right? Mine is Libra. I'm a Libra. We each are born to a sun sign. Based on the sun sign that we are, because there's 12 zodiac signs, and there's only 9 months gestation. Based on your sun sign, you lack 3 vital cell salts that can cause problems later in life. Now, there are books that go into it. What is his name? I can't remember his name, but Cell Salts and the Body, or Cell Salts in the Zodiac. I forget the guy's name. It starts with a G, I think. He talks about it. He explains it. There's something you can do. It's called bioplasma. You can go on Amazon or wherever you want to go and get it. It's called bioplasma. And what you do is you buy it, and it gives you a dose of the salts. Salts are just minerals. You overdo it, you might have a kidney stone. But like at the end of the day, I think you take 2 or 3 a day. And it's not your fault that you're deficient in them. It's just the way that things worked out. But I think this is a very similar thing. Do you and Chief Ironbush have another live planned anytime soon, Rob says. Yes. Yeah, he wants to, but he's dealing with some stuff right now. I've been texting him. I left him alone the last couple of days, but I'm going to... I'll shoot him a text right now, actually. Hold on. Chief Ironbush. All right, I just shot him a message. I just don't know when. And I'm going to do something with Santos, too. So I've got stuff coming up. We got to plan in it. Kyle's here. Just jumped in. What's cranking, Dank Man, in chat room? J-O-He. Live said, I kind of want a career as an occultist. It's all genuine, too. It's just like you said. I've lost a lot of friends and family that don't understand darkness or knowledge of self. What's important to understand, guys, is like the religious people, the Christians are like, I want a Christian. I want a Christian woman. I want a godly woman. I want a woman who hates the devil and all. There is polarity to both. There is good and evil in this world, and there always will be because they reflect each other. Because if peace fell over the earth, then the good wouldn't mean anything. At least for me, I want someone that's been to the darkest pit, come back, and chose the light, which is what I did for my wife. That's what she is. She's been there. You want someone that understands both of them, not someone that just rejects one without looking at it. And tell them what I do. Oh, astrology in the Bible. Oh, astrology is evil. Oh, yeah. They take the placenta these days. They hope the woman signs it over. Can value up to 300K apparently. All those stem cells? Absolutely. What you're going to want to do, if you have, when the baby is born, and the baby comes out, it's still attached to the placenta. Do not cut the placenta. That cord will continue to push stem cells into the baby's body. When the stem cell, when the placenta, it's not going to look red anymore. It's going to look like a see-through hose. That's when you cut it. Question: if there was Adam and Eve, Eve had Cain and Abel, and Cain killed Abel, how was the world populated? Well, if you read the Bible, you'll come to that same conclusion, right? But then you'll come to the part in this story where it says Cain had a mark on him, so nobody could kill him. And he went to the land of Nod, and he knew his wife. Where the fuck did this woman come from? They never explain it. The appendix is a reservoir for probiotics. That I haven't heard. I would like to see some literature on that. Savannah, you're new too. I appreciate you being here. There are books I'm studying about ancient Egypt, like Stolen Legacy, Osiris, the Egyptian Resurrection, Christianity Before Christ. I'm reading Jeffrey Burton Russell books too, along with Jordan Maxwell. I have Jordan's books as well. Jordan was my mentor and friend. I wouldn't be where I am without Jordan or Santos, and it literally is just those two. Those are the only two that I studied before I started working on my own. Sophia says, yes, Micah, Immaculate Conception, parthenogenesis, not parthenogenesis. But that's correct. That's what it's called. I just forgot to mention the name. It's called parthenogenesis. So Sophia, the divine feminine, people need to understand the divine feminine. That's Isis. Okay? That's what this is. They need to understand that. We need to get back to that in order to turn the ship around. If you listen to the same track, 432, 440, you should find the 432 tugs you just right. Obviously, make sure to know the track well. You will feel it if the music's in you. The other thing, too, GJMO, is that if you're... We have these all the time, right? The phones, we're always listening to them. So sometimes we're listening to music, right? You want to listen to a harmonic frequency on 111, 432, 528, 963. I did 777. I mean, just there's so many of them. And you're going to go to YouTube and listen to them. Well, the problem is that our cell phones do not have the acoustic capabilities of transmuting that particular vibration. They don't. I'm pretty sure that vinyl records do, but I know that CDs and live streams on computers don't work. You can't hear that. You need the pure music. That's what you need. Oh, that's beautiful. Hello to Micah, wife. Thank you, Sophia. Ashkenazi. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, I know what it is. I just don't know what you mean by it. Have you read Egregores and Thought Forms by Mark Starvish? Powerful read on religion and cults, how the mind can create ancient entities and not even realize them after the faint of heart. Yeah, guys, that's what an egregore is. So basically, you have demons, right? You have demons and all these angels, and they're real, by the way. These entities are real. There's a reason people worship them. There's a reason for that. It's not that they're being stupid. It's not that they're lost. There are negative entities out there. There are positive entities out there. An egregore is basically when you mix your knowledge with someone else, with like you're going to summon a demon, right? But you don't do it the right way. You're creating something new. That's what an egregore is. It's a brand new thing. I have not read that book, but I should. Teeth may be able to regenerate with sea salt soul voice YouTube channel. It's not just that, Frederick. There's something called hydroxyapatite that, if brushed on your teeth, can actually regrow teeth. They're just now figuring this out. Thank you for attempting to answer difficult questions. Not always easy, I know. I fucking love this. This is my favorite thing to do. You never know what you're going to learn here at any given moment. And guys, when I say something to you, I don't want you to take it as gospel. If it doesn't sit right with you, I want you to Google it or go to Yandex or go to Brave or something, and I want you to look it up yourself. And I just bring up or you guys bring up topics, I talk about it, and then you're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, no, it doesn't make sense. And then you come back the next time and you're like, hey, I looked into this. It doesn't make sense. And then we continue from that. Micah, make sure clip that beaver story for a short. Shit's going to go viral when you throw an ice cream with syrup on it. DJ Emo, the one thing I'm not really good at is, like, if you notice, I just come in and do a live. I don't have any intro. I don't have any dancing people. I don't have a background. I don't have any of that kind of shit because I don't care for it. And to be honest with you, I don't really know how to do it. I wouldn't even know how to make a clip of that. Maybe you could and send it to me. Oh, that's where you know me from, Sophia. Yes, what a beautiful collaboration. Your awesome self and the chief, great gnosis. Thank you. Yeah, there's few people on this planet, and I'm talking like I can count on my hand, that I enjoy more than talking to that man. I learn from him like I learned from Santos, like I learned from Jordan Maxwell. They are absolutely beautiful people. Did you know in natal charts you have a sun sign, your rising sign, moon sign, and at the time of your birth you also have a sign in all the planets? I do. That's called your birth chart, Catherine. Yes, I do know that. People always like to talk about their sun sign, right? Like, I'm a Libra, right? And that's what they talk about. I'm such a Libra. Your sun sign is your ego. Your moon sign is your shadow self. Your ascendant or your rising sign, that's who you truly are. So I'm a rising Aquarius. That's who it is. So you have your ego sun, your shadow moon, and then your rising. That's who you connect with, who you truly are. Where do Homo capensis live? Underground, near Antarctica? Both. Marie, have you ever looked at... Guys, give me 1 sec, okay? I'll be right back. Thank you for everyone that waited for a few minutes. All right. Murray. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Okay, Murray. When you look up the ancient hieroglyphs in Egypt, do you not see these entities with elongated skulls with like a cap over it? That's Homo capensis. They look just like us. They just have longer, they're more developed brains, and it's just longer. They don't want you interacting with things that have longer brains. You know, dolphins. You know their brain, right? How it's just like not of this world. It's amazing. Do you know dolphin-assisted births are now illegal? Do you know why? Dolphins, with their echolocation, calm a pregnant mother, and they match their frequency to the mother's. And women who have had dolphin-assisted births report that there was absolutely zero pain or zero worry because the dolphin starts circling you and putting a protective electromagnetic current around you. This is why dolphins will often attack sharks when they come to get people. Talking about things with big brains, so my brain's just going off on something else. But basically, the Homo capensis, that's what you're looking at. It's the elongated skulls. They show you this in Egypt, and people don't know any better. They're like, oh, long skulls, whatever, fuck it. People don't know any better. David Wilcock talked about this in his The Source Field. And for doing that, they turned him into a banana sandwich, as he called it. He said they made me a banana sandwich. That's one in the front and one in the back. That's what they did to him because he exposed this in The Source Field, which was a book, but you can find his lecture on The Source Field, which was incredibly interesting too, on YouTube. Pat Breeze is here. It's been a while, bud. What's up, man? Love Jordan Maxwell. Discovered him in 2020 when he would repeat over and over again, put your mask on, stay 6 feet apart, and go home and die. You know, Jordan used to say to me, he used to tell me that shit was really going to hit the fan. And I said, what do you mean? And he would like explain stuff to me. And I'd be like, aren't you worried? And he's going to be like, I'll be dead. He's like, I'll be gone. I won't be here for it. Traditionally regarded as a vestigial organ, the appendix is being reevaluated for its significant function in health and nutrition of humans, serving as a safe house for beneficial gut bacteria. Every organ has a purpose. The kidneys clean out toxins. The liver cleans out toxins. The lungs. I can go on and on. This does not explain what the purpose of the appendix does, though. That's what I was trying to tell you. That's what it used to do. Mike, I walked away and walked back in. What about regrowing teeth? It's a compound called hydroxyapatite, and it's spelled just the way it sounds. Look it up. See if you can pick some up. It grows teeth. Then, wow, he made everything make sense to me. I'm not sure what you mean, Patricia. Or can you elaborate on that? Shine Your Light is here. Do you believe NPCs are a real phenomenon? I think Jordan Maxwell touches on this. I don't know so much if I believe NPCs are real, or if I believe that some people are here for the first time and some people like us are here for the last time or for the 100th time. When you just look at a soul and you go, there is no depth to this person, it is literally just repeating. I think they're, people that, I'm a cop, that's everything that I am, and, I know other cops, and we drink, and then we do this, and it's just life, but I don't think that they don't exist. I do think the phenomenon that half the people in the world do not have an inner monologue needs to be studied. I think that's unbelievable. I think it's unbelievable that half the people, and some people say it's even more than that. I am caster sack intolerant. So next time you guys grab yourself a nice raspberry lemonade from 7-Eleven, just know you're drinking the ass juice of a beaver. Which, by the way, I put in my first book. Which, by the way, if you guys wanted to support me, my book series is called Into the Rabbit Hole. And I have 8 books. And you can learn stuff like you do here straight through this book through a fun story. Spot on as always, brother. I'm also Aquarius rising. That's good. That's why we get along. The last time Homo capensis got brought up, I spent 12 hours studying them. Yep, Jamie. Is there an easy way to find your rising ascendant sign if you don't know quite the time of your birth? Well, you need 3 things. You need the location of your birth. And if it's like in a major area, it's your city. And then it's your, why am I drawing a blank? It's your city. It's your time. I'm drawing a blank. That's ridiculous. You would need to know the time of your birth. Otherwise, it just gives you a general idea. Does anyone else sense a peaceful aura around Micah, or is it just me? Thank you, Live. Hey, for all of you out there who don't follow me on social media or who just, I see the YouTube signs right here, so I know you're in from YouTube. Find me on social media. I love talking to everybody. I talk to every single person that reaches out to me. Find me on social media. Help me grow that. It took a lot for me to get this peaceful. It took a lot for me to get this peaceful. But yeah, I appreciate that. I'm never angry unless I'm being demonstrated against by the religious people. Chris says, I've heard sound waves from records are smooth, true waves. Digital sound is trying to mimic sound waves in very small stair steps, so it looks like a wave until you zoom in. You can tell it just falls flat. That's why purists listen to vinyl, right? That's why they still make vinyl records. Why would they make vinyl records? That's like making a fucking phonograph. I mean, not a phonograph. That's like making a black and white TV. Like, why would they still make it? We've evolved from this. We have streaming sales. You can get it all to your phone. No, people still like vinyl records. Always worth waiting for. Savannah, I just got your message. And when I'm off, I'll reply. Thank you so much. Guys, all of you, reach out to me. Mom always said the appendix was to aid the digestion of raw meat. Raw meat, hair, and bone. Al says, are you familiar with the historical theories of Ralph Ellis, Michael Tsarion? If so, what is your general take? I think their findings are very interesting, though new to me. They're great men, but I haven't studied them, to be honest with you. So I'm not really sure. I feel that, Micah. It takes time to find inner peace. All right, guys, it's about an hour and a half. So I'm going to take off. Maybe I'll come back tonight. Hopefully I'll see you guys tonight. I'll come back at like 6 or 7. Yeah, give or take. I don't know. We got a new dog, so we're going to spend time with him. But thank you guys for being here. Please pick up the books. Please find me on social media. And much love.